What's up, everybody? Welcome to another round. Yes, it is another season of Heartland Christian Coaches Corner with one of my good buddies, Mr. Josh Scott. You call him okay. I call him great. Great Scott. And he is back. He's leading his team to an 8-5 overall record this year. Coach, it's been a little bit of up and down this year. And naturally, we're going to talk about that here. But overall, what's the sense of the Lions this year, and what team that you've been able to put on the floor time and time again?
Well, we knew coming into the year that we would have the inexperience factor, that we had a lot of guys that just hadn't played varsity minutes in big time situations, and the ones that did letter outside of Luke Reynolds and Drew Walker and then Will Morgan and Jake Walker, those guys played a little bit, but anybody else we were going to put on the floor was pretty much brand new to the game, to the varsity game. So we knew that we were going to have to hang our hat on defense, and I think our guys have done that. And just, find a scoring rhythm. And we're still working on that. And some days it looks great. Some days it's a challenge. And that's just how it goes. But we're just working on building consistency. That's for sure.
I think it's always crazy when coaches talk to me about when they have a young team or a team that doesn't exactly have that varsity experience, that defense will always come first. Why is that? Typically, you think offense is a little bit easier to practice. Am I wrong there?
Yeah. No. I mean, it's just the way it goes. I think with offense, it's just sometimes, offense is so much about timing and angles and rhythm, and there's so much to the offensive end. Where on defense, we actually have gone back to like really old school. We don't switch. We soft hedge. We are who we are. We did that at Sebring when Coach Zamuda, who's on our staff now, when he was a senior, it was basically, this is what we do. Don't care if you know it. This is how we're going to play, and that's what our kids have bought into, and they're doing it really well. I think at one point here, I mean, we just gave up in the 50s the last couple games, but we were at like a 45.7 offensive points per game for our team, and that was, for us, that's really good. And if we can hold teams into the 40s or even the low 50s, then we have a chance to win the game every night. So,
Heartland Christian Coaches Corner presented by Community Caregivers. Josh, one of the biggest things that you and I talked about in the offseason was losing your primary scorer, losing one of the bigger names that's come through Heartland Christian in a while. How do you replace that? And your guys have been up to the task so far.
Yeah, I think it's just it's a committee approach. We score by committee, and we've been really preaching about sharing the basketball and being a team that's super unselfish. And our team is that way. Sometimes our offense, the way that it's built, can look a little bit. I don't want to say selfish, but just kind of like a one-man deal. But it's usually when our guys are just trying to make plays. We talk about that all the time. That we're at our best when we're moving the ball, and when we have 5, 6, 7 guys that are scoring closer to double digits. That's what we've been working on, and to me, it's a little bit more fun because it was a challenge for Jonathan to have to get his shots because everybody was paying attention to Jonathan, and clearly him being our best scorer, it was a challenge every night because we saw so many different defenses and different things going on there. So I think for the kids, it's a little bit, I shouldn't even say more fun. It's just a little bit, it helps with the flow of the game, and it's probably more enjoyable when anybody can step up. And we did have that last year too, but when you have so much emphasis on one guy on both ends for both teams, it definitely can be a challenge. So
I'm always interested because leading scorers come and go, right? So you talked about JB from last year. This year, Luke Reynolds is your leading scorer, almost averaging 14 a game. But the distribution, like you kind of emphasize, it's a little bit different. It seems like it's 5 fingers make a fist, and you guys have been punching your way out of some situations. How is it different in coaching guys that anybody can score, as opposed to, like you said, JB's going to get his shots, and everybody's looking for Jonathan Berdovich to take that shot every single trip up the floor?
Yeah, I think that's to add to that, we just have guys that it's a unique team because we have guys like Will Morgan, Jake Walker. I mean, they've had a couple games here recently where they've put up almost 20. I mean, it was like 19, 18. Will's had a 20-point game here or there. Drew Galt has come in and scored, in the mid double digits on multiple occasions. Drew Walker's done that. Seth Walker comes off the bench, hits 3 threes in the Columbiana game off the bench and can score, and he can do it in bunches. So we have some guys that can light it up, and I guess it's just a matter of that, again, the consistency factor. Those guys being able to come in and learn how to do that, and it's a grind. I was just talking to another coach here recently that about, and even to our team, about hitting the wall in January. In mid-January, a lot of teams hit that wall where it's a long, grinded out season, and this is that time of year where you kind of really separate the men from the boys at that time when it comes to tournament time and records and bios and all the things that are going on. And that's what we're trying to accomplish here. So we're really getting on the guys and really challenging them now, but we're just trying to build that consistency on the offensive end.
To me, I love your schedule. You really challenge your team week in, week out, game in, game out. And obviously you've got a big one coming up, which I love when you guys and when teams go to the professional venues. So you guys are going to Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Is that a treat for you guys, or is that like a game that you look forward to and you say, hey, we've got it, we're going to have some eyes on us that typically aren't? How do you manage that?
Well, I know Coach Upshire is trying to be YSN's #1 fan, but I don't know if he drank from his coffee mug today.
Let's get a close up of that.
But anyway, yeah, no, we're looking forward to our big game with Coach Upshire and the Braves. It's a really good team that they have, and our kids to get that experience up at Rocket Mortgage is just incredible. And even my kids they've been talking about it for weeks now, to go up and be the ball boy and ball girl and just be in that venue and get that experience. And we know it's a huge challenge because it's a really good team, but we have them twice coming up. We have Valley again. We have Salem on the road. We've got West Branch coming in. We have not tried to shy away from preparing ourselves for the tournament. And when you're an independent school and when you're a program that is trying to turn that corner a little bit and trying to become a team that can make a little bit of a run and just win a couple games, I think you have to try to prepare yourselves. And to be honest with you, it's harder to schedule sometimes when you're independent and maybe you've had a little bit of success. I found that as the AD also, that sometimes scheduling for basketball can be a little bit more of a challenge. But that's something we're really proud of too. Like, it's not Heartland Christian isn't everybody's senior night anymore, or homecoming game or whatever, and that's something we take seriously, because we're trying to build a program of being competitive and hopefully, above all, glorifying God with how we play and honoring Him. But playing those other teams, that's how we can get that done too. And I've always said the last couple years anyway, I've been saying it'd be kind of neat to be that team that maybe flies under the radar, 500-ish, playing some better competition and being that team, not a lot of people want to play in the tournament.
So that leads me to my next question. I mean, this tournament is going to be wild the way it's set up this year. And you obviously had the ability, even before the year and even in the midst of it, with some cancellations, to upgrade your schedule a little bit. How do you, does it take a toll on the player's psyche a little bit when they look at their record and they say, okay, we know that we're playing really good teams. We know we should be, if we played a cake schedule, we'd be 16-0 or whatever it may be at the time. But you're playing some teams that are some dogs, and you're getting in some dog fights. Does it play with the guy's psyche at all? And do you have to coach that and kind of mentor that notion of, yeah, our record probably isn't what we want it to be ultimately when you take the floor, but at the same time, we're playing up constantly.
Yeah. It's going to have to, if we're going to have success, we're going to have to figure it out. And I don't know that answer because, even last year when we built up the schedule, we had Lowville and St. Tom and South Range and JFK and, some of these teams that have been traditionally really good and still are. Some of that is we were fortunate to win some of those games, and, losing doesn't always necessarily mean that you haven't gained from it either. And that's what we're trying to preach to these guys. All of our kids, the one thing that's special about the kids that we have now, and even down to the junior high level right now, when you talk to them, these are games they want to play. They're asking for this. Coach Franken in baseball, a lot of the same kids. They're playing Glen Oak at Thurman Munson Stadium this year. They're asking me to schedule, some of these big Harrison Central. There's you look at our schedule, and it's no different in baseball too. And you can't help but to love that mentality. You just, to me, I'm like, hey, I love that you guys want to go out and compete. I love that you want to get this done. And there's a bit more than just winning, and obviously, but there is that fine line of, if you drop a few games in a row, can you keep that psyche of going in? And I think these kids are strong-minded enough to do that. I really do.
I love it. I mean, that's one of my favorite things when coaches take that challenge upon themselves and upon their kids, and they say, hey, we're going to go up against Goliath no matter what we look like, and we're going to come out better because of it. And you guys are absolutely doing that. All right. Last question for you. I mean, we've had, great teams behind us in Heartland Christian, and there's obviously a nice pipeline of young men coming up through, and women as well, through all your sports at Heartland Christian. You're doing a great job as the athletic director there, Josh. But I got to ask you, this year, what is the kind of motto? What's the kind of creole for your team that you guys have placed, and what are you hanging your hat on?
Oh, well, I think that it's not a ton different, but this group, like I said previously in the interview here, is defense was absolutely the first and foremost thing that we've talked about for baskets. And just the hard work that everything that we do has to be earned. I think the kids, we had a long talk about that last night, even after our game with Minerva. Minerva did a great job. They came in here and exposed us and some of the things that we need to work on. But as I explained to those guys, and playing these bigger schools and these schools that are the big time competition, and supposed to be better than us on paper and all of those things, is that we can learn from all that and we can grow. And that's really the thing that we've been preaching to these guys for a while now, is that we want to peak in the middle of February and be the best. Obviously, we want to be the best basketball team every day that we can be. But we want to continue to improve and be at our absolute best, come tournament time, and give ourselves a chance to do something special that way. And I think even with the girls' side, they're maybe a little bit different in the process. Like when we first started with the boys, Coach Lib and the girls are in a similar boat right now, where they're, testing the waters, getting it figured out, learning how to do things the right way. But I think they're going to come along as well. I think that I really do. I think they're, again, just in that same boat of we're going to figure it out and learn how to go and do things. I think winning is a process, and it's not easy. Anybody that's done this long enough has learned that, and would know really well that you take all the wins that you can get, because it's super, super tough to do. And, it's once you've learned that and the kids understand that, that's when you can get to like kind of where we are now, that, hey, we know how to win, but now we want to go and we really want to go and challenge ourselves now. And let's see if we can get to that next level.
Maximize it. I love it. The great one, Josh Scott, right here with your Coach's Corner, brought to you by Community Caregivers. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.